Quantum computing matters more than AI superintelligence. On Sunday, I woke up thinking about all this. Core dump. No matter how big they are, AI computers are still digital computers. As such, they are not capable of solving the kind of problems that large quantum computers are expected to solve. That's because the big problems require much more computation power than any digital computer can provide. The El Capitan supercomputer at Lawrence Livermore is currently the largest supercomputer in the world. It runs on AMD chips. This is because years ago, AMD decided to focus on high-performance computing, which is quite different than NVIDIA's focus on GPUs. But even that computer is not capable of taking on the biggest computational problems. These are problems with cryptography, physics, material science, pharmacology, finance, and more. It is estimated that working on these problems will require millions of usable qubits. At the present time, trapped ion quantum computers only have about 100 qubits. D-Wave claims that their quantum annealing computers have more than 4,000 qubits, which are good for many optimization problems. But for the most part, current quantum computers are only good for proofs of concept and toy problems. One of the problems that large quantum computers will solve is cryptography. It's extremely important because everything depends on encrypted communications. And this is one reason why everyone is working on quantum computing. The first nation to create a big enough quantum computer to crack existing encryption schemes will have a huge advantage. This is a national security threat so big that cybersecurity is at the top of the Pentagon's do list. Superintelligent AIs are not going to solve these problems, so one wonders if the pursuit of superintelligence matters. Advocates of superintelligent AIs would have us believe that good things will somehow emerge if we have it. You don't hear them talking about the same type of problems that the quantum people talk about. That's because they know digital computers won't do that work. A lot of that talk is PR blather because they are terrified of having the funding well go dry. And that could happen. Billions of dollars have been poured into LLMs in the past few years, and they have not produced $1 of profit. We do get a lot of use out of them, but they are basically a financial black hole. Massive technological advances, and the profits they generate will come from big quantum computers. In addition to the financial problem, the world of LLMs in the US is currently bottlenecked by the supply of electricity. It will take years to solve that problem because it takes a long time to build power plants. There have been recent announcements of nuclear power plant construction, but they won't be online until 2044. In the meantime, China is way ahead of the US in terms of installed capacity. That gives them an edge in terms of building digital AI capacity, but not necessarily in terms of building quantum capacity. The power needs of quantum computers compared to their capacity seem to be much less than digital data centers. It may be that the US will benefit more from concentrating on quantum computing. In any case, working on quantum computing is not optional. If others are doing it, so must we. This is the real race, not superintelligence. I think we already have enough installed capacity to do more with digital AIs. This doesn't mean we should stop trying to improve them, but the big boys are finding that making bigger LLMs has reached the point of diminishing returns. In the past few months, we have heard that Meta is delaying deployment of their massive model because they are having trouble making it work. And their guru, Yann LeCun, says language models aren't enough to make AGI or SI. More data doesn't mean smarter. The real frontier is algorithms. We can get more from our installed capacity by becoming more efficient in how we use it. One of my recent blogs discussed the fact that a current generation 70B model can do almost as much as older generation 400B models. IBM's Granite family of models tops out at 32B because IBM's models are strictly business models. They are not loaded with all the garbage data that some consumer models have. An NVIDIA graphics card with 48 gigabytes of VRAM costs $4,000. This would comfortably run the biggest Granite model. If you combine this with GPT-4 ALL and private data, you would have a useful AI machine that a lot of businesses can afford. If you don't know about GPT-4 All, you should. It's an AI tool that will run on many existing PCs. More than 250,000 people use it regularly, with about 70,000 monthly downloads. The great virtue of GPT-4 ALL is that it lets you build completely private collections of data and use that data with downloadable models. No connection to the internet is required other than downloading. That makes it air-gap secure as well as private if you unplug the network connection. The speed of GPT-4 ALL mainly depends on the horsepower you have and the size of the model. Very small models, 3B or less, work quite well even if you only have a CPU of i7 or better. GPT-4 ALL has a process for taking your raw data and converting it into weights used by the language models. The same thing happens when you load data into cloud models. The difference is that when you load into cloud models, those models are seeing your raw data, not just the weights, and they can regurgitate that data. How much do you trust the cloud systems, which have all been infiltrated by the intelligence agencies? GPT-4 all reduces this risk. One option you have with GPT-4 ALL is to connect your weights to cloud platforms to get speed. I have a pair of private knowledge bases with about 3 million words that I use for research for a writing project. My AI computer is an i7 machine with no GPU, so it's not very fast. But GPT-4 all lets me connect to cloud providers like Grok, which provide very fast inference. Using either the Llama 70B or Llama 7B model, it gives me an answer faster than ChatGPT 5 does. The answers from the 7B model are indistinguishable from those produced by the 70B model. And this brings us back to the giant data centers with hundreds of thousands of GPU cards. They aren't needed for a lot of everyday use cases. A model used for science questions doesn't need your mom's recipe for sourdough bread. Every one of those cards could be used for many small models, specialized for many types of tasks. The horsepower of the existing data centers could be combined with the wasted CPU cycles of many millions of PCs and servers to create cloud models bigger than all of the current data centers combined, with no additional grid capacity. To sum up, quantum computing should take precedence over AI superintelligence because the payoff will be huge. The key to progress now is making better use of existing capacity rather than waiting for data centers that may never be